Alrighty, it is the wee hours of Wednesday morning. It's time to tune in. I'm tuning in. Glad you tuned in. I appreciate every single one of you. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be recreating a sound that most people are familiar with, specifically the sound of a 303 bass line, specifically the Roland TB-303, which is this thing. You've probably seen that around, and all of the various stuff on there isn't really that important. What's really important is these four knobs: the cutoff frequency, the resonance, the envelope modulation, and the decay. Now, as luck would have it, inside of LMMS, which is my digital audio workstation of choice because it's what I've used for a while, there is an LB302, an incomplete monophobic imitation TB-303. Well, that's great. That's exactly what I need. Let's enable MIDI input on that so we can give that a shot. There we go. On channel 1, we use the Mio, and here we go. Here's that iconic 303 sound. I mean, it's okay. I don't really feel like that sounds very much like a 303 at all. I don't feel like they've done a good job on that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come over here to my presets, and I'm going to grab Vital. And Vital also comes with a nice little preset. And if you look up here, you'll find that there is an Acid 303 bass. And that's pretty good, but I would rather build one from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the factory basic shapes set of waveforms. And unfortunately, the sine wave is not so great for that. So we're going to move up from this, and we're going to come up to the sawtooth wave. Sometimes you want to use a square wave, sometimes a sawtooth wave. And that's not what the envelope of a 303 sounds like. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the envelope for the 303, which is basically you pull everything all the way down to 0, like literally all of it. And we're going to take the fourth knob here. You'll see on Vital, we've got 4 macro knobs. That's exactly what we need. So we're going to take the 4th macro knob, which is what we're going to call delay, and we're going to drag it over here to the decay and to the release. We're going to drag it to both of them. And then we're going to pull it up a bit. And what that's going to do is, if I press the key and hold it, it sounds the same as if I just press the key and release it. Sounds the same whether you hold it down or release it. That's exactly what I want. I want to set the decay right here so I can go, or I can hold it down. And if you want to interrupt it, what you can do is you can set it down to only one voice. You can set it down to exactly one voice down here. And now, when you play another note, it cuts the previous note, which is the kind of thing that I want. But I'm going to jack that down a bit. I'm going to put it right about here. And I'm going to transpose the pitch down by an octave. In fact, I'm going to transpose it down 2 octaves. Now remember, 12 notes in an octave, so there we go. That's got a good sound to it. So now we've got a good level for me to like go over there and just like play a few notes. Now, what makes the 303 sound the way it does is the way the filter is modulated. And it's an analog filter at 12 decibels, which is exactly what you want here. It's an analog low pass 12 decibels. That's perfect. And now you'll see that a lot of the frequencies have been pulled out. But that's the point of your filter. So what you want to do is you want to modulate your cutoff. Now, you don't actually have to put your cutoff and resonance on macros, but I'm going to actually move that. We're going to set that all the way on the bottom. We're going to set the resonance all the way on the bottom, and we're going to put the macro on here all the way at the bottom, and the macro on here all the way at the bottom. So now these roughly go where they're supposed to go. Now we're going to take the keyboard tracking, we'll turn that on. What keyboard tracking does is it raises the cutoff based on the key that you're pressing. So while this note keeps everything right where it is, if I play a higher note, you can see that the cutoff moves. And you can see that down there on the analog stuff. Now, the thing that makes the 303 sound the way it does is the way the amplitude envelope modulates the cutoff frequency. So we're going to drag the envelope down to the cutoff frequency, and then we're going to drag this macro here, macro number 3. We're going to drag this up to the, well, first we're going to take the envelope modification. We're going to set it on 0. There we go. And then we're going to move macro 3 up here, and we're going to control the amount that it modulates. So what we're doing now is we've got the low pass filter going over our notes, but the amplitude isn't modulating the amount of the filter just yet. So if I raise that up to about halfway, we just got to move this amount to about, let's put it about there. Huh. Oh, that's at minus. I don't want it on minus, I want it on plus. There we go, about plus 64. And now you can see that as I raise the envelope modulation, that creates a different effect depending on how high you put it. And if I then take the resonance, jack that up, that'll give me that kind of if I also jack up the decay, now the way this all fits together is the cutoff frequency is just the frequencies below which the filter will allow them to come through the system. And the resonance is just an amplification of the frequencies right at the cutoff. If you turn it down to 0, you get this nice smooth sound. But as you turn it up, you get this sort of metallic boost. And way up at the top, you get this whistly thing going on. Which can be interesting. And these are the things that make the 303. So you can mess around with that and kind of get the sound that you're looking for. Okay, that's about what I'm looking for. And if you switch that up to the square wave, you get a slightly different sound. I thought there was more material in this than there is. It felt like there was more material in this than there was. But that's basically that's the way I do that. And I'm going to trim this up a little bit so you get a little more of the. And as you modulate these, let me label these so it's a little bit more obvious. That's your cutoff. That's your resonance. This is your, this is the, is the envelope modulation, and this is your decay. So you can see here we've got the cutoff frequency, which is here on the first knob, macro 1. We have the resonance, which is on the second one. We have the envelope modulation, which is on the third one, and we have the decay, which is on the fourth one. And now I'm going to turn off the little image up there because we don't really need it. So by modifying this, you can create different sounds. And if we kind of turn all of these to the middle, we can get a sort of basic 303 sound. And you can see that you get this sort of burbly quality to it. And as you raise the resonance, you make it sound kind of wet till it starts whistling. as you raise the envelope modulation, that creates one effect. But as it gets lower, it creates a different one. Now, this, incidentally, is what people mean by a filter sweep. They mean taking the cutoff from 0 up to the top. And that's basically, all I'm really doing here is saying you can build these sounds from scratch and mess around with them, and you can get different things out of them. I don't know how useful this video was. It seemed like a better idea when I was having it. I don't know how useful this has been, but if we go in here now, and let me just put a quick little sequence together for this. Let me grab my song editor, and we'll open this up, and we'll go. And we'll go, well, we're in the key of F, aren't we? So we'll start at F. Okay, and I think we actually want to run this in double time, so. That's still awfully slow. I think we actually need to take this down even further. Clear all of these out of here. let's enable loop. And now let's come in here and we'll add some automation on this. We'll I want to. Okay. So what I want here is I want a track. Edit. View. How the hell do you automation editor and automation pattern, the context menu of a control. Okay. Context menu of a control. That's what I'm trying to do here, and it's not being very helpful. Let's bring these up. Okay, here we go. So you got to bring it up. Yeah, that's that weird shit that it makes me do all the time. I'm gonna take. Okay, that's as big as I can make that. So we've got all of these controls, and I want to find macro 1. Macro 1 right here. We want to edit song global automation. I don't like how this works. I would like to just insert a... Okay. Edit song global automation. Here's the automation editor for Vital 211. And we're going to go here up to linear progression here. Here. And then back down. Okay. And I now solo this. You can hear that it's automating that. Let's copy this. And now we should be able to hear that kind of sweep up and then back down. Okay, so we are getting the results I expect there. So you get that kind of downward filter sweep. And then bring these up and switch back to all, and we've got down toward the, where the hell was the set of macros? There we go, right there. We're gonna go edit song global automation. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go up to here, and then we're gonna go back down to here. And we're gonna do the same with macro 3. We're gonna edit song global automation. We're gonna come here, up, back down, and then we're going to do the same thing with macro 4. Edit song global automation, pick it up. I don't do a lot of automation in LMMS, but I kind of need to with this. But this should now give us this kind of creeping, working feel to it. And there should be a way to edit the song global automation directly. Let's come back over here and we'll look back at these controls. We'll go to just the automated control. And from here, this is where we edit the automation. But I don't like the way this works. The results are more or less what I expected. They're not working quite the way. I don't like the way the interface works with it. I really thought this would work differently. Tools, edit, file. View the automation editors. The automation editor. There's some way to switch back and forth. So I'm looking at the automation editor, but how do I choose which automation I'm looking at? Doesn't look like there is a way to choose that. You just have to pull up the, you have to specifically pick the exact, that's terrible. That's a terrible way to do this. This makes the automation a huge pain to work with. Oh my God, and the type of, oh geez. I think it may be time to just kind of abandon LMMS altogether and go to something more modern, because I don't know, this is obnoxious. I mean, you can do the automation, it just It just doesn't work very well. It's not. There should be an easy way to switch between the automation for different controls, and there really isn't. They're just. You have to pull up the internals. And you have to specifically edit them individually. That is a huge pain. Okay. That's that one. Let's connect that to another controller. Check that right there. That works. Connect controller. Okay. Connect controller. Okay. And all right, now we'll close that and we'll take the actually remove the sound global automation and see if we can't okay, remove song global automation, remove song global automation, remove song global automation, remove song global automation. We'll turn those all the way down to nothing. And now I should be able to play this and alter. It's working for, okay. Doesn't seem to be working for the resonance. All right, so here I've got the now I wonder if I can record the automation and actually have it like Okay, yeah, that actually seems to have some serious possibilities in terms of what I can do with it. Now, if I could record automation on tools, please open an automation pattern within the context of a control. There's no record button here, so it doesn't look like that's a thing I could. God damn it. I'm going to have to learn how to use Reaper, aren't I? I'm going to. That's going to be a huge pain. The problem is always what your software can do and figuring out how to make your software do the thing that you want it to do. I do have a good starting TB-303 patch though, and all of the dials are working, so I've got that fit together. I do like knobs. Knobs are fun. This is not at all where I thought this was going to be going. I thought this was going to be a much more interesting video, but hey, you're getting to see my process. And it's not a what the hell is he doing process, it's a what the hell am I doing process. Which I tend to think is much more interesting to watch. Because among other things, it makes you feel better about not knowing what the fuck you're doing. This is the TB-303. Let me just save that off and go ahead and call a halt to this. I'm very frustrated with this right now, but I will figure out a way to make this shit work and get the kind of sound that I'm looking for on it. I get these tools I've been using forever, and I barely remember how to use them because I just don't use them that much. I do too much stuff, and I don't work in anything day after day after day anymore. Also, I'm just kind of getting old. It's hard to remember things when you get old. It just there's so much data to sift through. It's just your head is so full of so many different things that you've got to go, okay, how do I do this thing? And it's somewhere in the pile of shit that you know how to do, but you have to dig through it all and find the thing. This wasn't the greatest video, but this is what the process looks like. It really does. And this is why things take forever. Anyway, again, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And, okay, bye.